Now, folks, in the upper right, though, in the red, he is for the Shopify Rebellion, the captain. It's Harstem.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left. It is Nice for Good Game Gaming.
Very nice.
And look at this. We've already got something a little bit funky coming out here. We've got Nice saying, you know what? I love that they're Rotterdam. I like how he doesn't go with normal conventions. He doesn't put his gateway in his wall. He's not some sheep who follows the herd. He just does what he wants, and he puts his wall wherever he darn well pleases. And this is pretty notable because against stuff like Adepts, you're gonna have a little bit of a difficult time defending. The advantage of this is you lose a little bit less mining time, which may not seem like a lot, but at the top level, you can sometimes get some nasty early timings, and that's gonna be something. So we'll see if this comes to anything, if this actually ends up making a difference in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting here. I mean, part of it is, I guess, is maybe it's a bit of a gamble. Ancient Cistern is one of the larger maps in the pool that we have, so maybe there's the assumption that you might not be punished as hard in the wall. And also, if Harstem goes and kind of scouts, I mean, look how he's scouting right now. He is under the impression that maybe there's going to be something on the map. Although, as I say that, he didn't even look up the ramp. He just saw that there was nothing in the natural, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I got to look around. But no, there's nothing. There's not even a probe on the map for Nice.
No, there is not, but what there is for Harstem is a couple of Adepts. And even with Nice having what is actually a pretty decent SimCity here, there is still a gap on the left side. There's a gap between these gateways, and there's a huge gap on the right side. Now, if Nice elects to build another pylon here at the front, he can full wall this pretty easily. But this is going to be intriguing. Now, even I kind of like this approach from Nice because a player like Harstem, he is pretty well known for being a macro player. Even if he'll hit you with some weird stuff, it'll usually be like a proxy Stargate. I don't think of him as a player that's going to go, you know, proxy 2-gate Forge or proxy 3-gate or whatever weird all-in, super hyper aggressive. So I like the fact very much that Nice has elected to, you know, not just go for this wall that's a little closer to the chest. He skipped a probe scout too, so he's just cutting all the corners. Now the first two Adepts are going to show up. Are we going to see anything actually come of this? Oh, Harstem lets the shade finish. That was probably the worst way he could have done that.
Yeah, it reveals you don't get much of anything, but he's going to shade in now. But Steadfast, they're 2 sentries, 2 stalkers. You're not finding the value you want. But what we're looking for, right, is as the Oracle arrives, Harstem is going to want to try to pair these shades up, but actually the Adepts are just running home, so Oracle runs in. There are 3 stalkers here, 2 sentries, both rounds of aggression coming in from Harstem early on. They don't get much of anything, and now look at the Nexus timings. Harstem, he's sitting 30 seconds behind, half the build time behind what Nice has. So unless Harstem finds some value in the next minute or so, this is just going to turn into a game where Nice is kind of strictly ahead.
Yeah. Now the Oracles have a lot of potential. They can nip in snipe probes very easily. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of opportunity for Nice to just pull ahead here. It's going to be up to Harstem to find an opening, and for now, Nice isn't really giving him one. By the way, he's added this Forge at the front, which I like for a multitude of reasons. One, it's a great way to get into the mid game. 2, oh, well, actually, hang on, hold that thought. He actually kind of biffs the wall a little bit, and now 2 probes will go down, and the Oracles flood into the natural. That is going to be the damage Harstem was looking for. He's now up 7 workers. That's a huge find for the captain and puts him very far ahead in terms of economy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? You go for early Nexus, you play defensively like Nice is. It is all predicated on not taking damage, on actually being as defensive as you want to play. So you got to make sure your positioning is perfect. The Adepts in the main base means that Nice has to move his army up to deal with that, because otherwise it's going to be 2 Adepts and 2 Oracles against your 3 Stalkers, which the math does not work out. You do not kill the harassing units fast enough, so you have to pull them out of the natural, which means Oracles, they run in from a different angle. you can't let those adepts in. So good job there by Harstem. Again, he's up 7 workers. Oracles are going to try to dive in once again, but hey, there are 4 stalkers, 2 sentries. There's too much there. But he's already got himself the position that he wants, and now his blink is a little bit faster. Forge slower, but he will have, in 20 seconds? He's going to have a lot of agency on the map.
He is, but I feel like Nice knows that he has a faster forward timing. Oh, great job right there from Harstem. Intercepts one of these hallucinations. That's well done. If I know Nice at all, he is absolutely going to try and come up with a timing to exploit this. Now, that could be the +1 timing, in a few seconds. I don't think so. He might. He did get the 3rd and 4th gate before expanding to that 3rd. So he will have a little bit of potential there. As I say that, though, Harstem might actually find a cancel on this. Nice is not in position, and he is down 1 stalker. Very nice pickoff here for Harstem. He wants that sentry. He'll grab it. I don't know if Nice knows about this stasis ward, but yeah, he's not going to move forward into it. I got to say, mechanically, Harstem is playing so clean, but I am worried about the potential of this timing, whether that's a +2 timing or he just hits right now with a +1. I think it's going to be a +2 timing, but I do think Nice is going to try and take advantage as much as possible there.
Yeah, I don't really think this +2 timing you're talking about, Steadfast, is, well, okay, remains to be seen if Harstem gets his +2 is immediately after +1. But I don't think that's a timing that is really going to matter, right? Because, well, 3rd base is going to be up. Harstem has more workers, but more importantly here, this is actually going to be some sort of timing off of that +1 probably, because a Warp Prism's getting made. And for the most part, if there are things you would rather build out of your Robo compared to a Warp Prism if you don't plan on getting aggressive. Things like Observers and Immortals and Power Units. So here comes the pressure from Nice. His 3rd base is only just now halfway done, but he does have that +1 for just a little bit. That Stasis Trap, though, knocking down a sentry for a bit. That's going to be pretty nice here. And Harstem has been rather consistent on making sure that he has more of those. In fact, knocking down the Observer that runs across as well. I don't know that Nice can break into this. He can knock the pylon down, but I'm not too confident in his ability to actually break Harstem here.
Yeah, it's very unlikely, and now I think that this is a great position for Harstem. He's up 7 workers still. His Nexus was finished quite a bit faster. He got his faster +2. In regards to the danger of a timing, he actually started up charge and then canceled it, I think in favor of faster Immortals to make sure he didn't die to any push. And now he's still got the faster +2. He's his charge is only a little bit later, but I mean, Nice is not going to want to hit without his own +2. This is a great situation so far for Harstem. He is really in a nice position in this game, but all it takes is one fight where he's a little bit out of position. Nice finds an opening, and this game can easily flip on its head. It all comes down to that big engagement.
And the interesting thing here as well, we got to look at tech paths that are starting to diverge. Yes, Harstem does have his 4th base. Nice is staying on 3, but the Templar Archives is just about done for Nice here. We may see Harstem go Disruptors. He may drop Templar Archives as well, move into those Archons. I don't know. But Nice is going to have a much stronger army against any Zealots that Harstem wants to make in the midterm, which again may tell us Nice, again, lacking the 4th base here, maybe looking to go for another round of aggression. And yeah, there we do. We do see the tech paths starting to diverge because there's a Robo facility on the way. Harstem is going to get into Disruptors fairly quickly, but that means he's going to be open now to a timing where Nice has this big bruiser army that, well, Harstem will struggle to fight until those Disruptors are out.
Man, I've got to say, Harstem is playing some immaculate StarCraft right now. So you might have noticed I just pointed out all the points on the map where Harstem has vision. He had a probe on the top left. It got killed by the stalkers of his opponent. Another amazing set of stasis wards here. Man, Harstem is playing so well right now. But he notices that the army's out of position. Boom, blinks in, kills the Nexus, no cancel. Harstem is playing so damn well right now. Nice. He is going to try and hit here. He stopped probing a long time ago. He is really looking to slam this one home and try and win pretty much right now. He does have a small army supply lead. This is the best hope that he has to get something done, but there is a shield battery overcharge available.
And also almost as importantly here,
defense coming on in.
Yeah, almost as importantly, he was supply block going into this, only had 1 Archon, so those tech leads he was looking for really not there. Archon gets saved as the Zealots run forward, but there are shield batteries. There are cannons here. This is not an easy position, and now Steadfast, the disruptors are starting to hit the field. One already with this army, second one on the way. Harstem eventually is going to drop that second robo. But for right now, I mean, it feels like he's starting to hit the tech that he needs, especially with Revelation, making sure he knows where Nice is, as again, Nice runs in, but all that accomplishes are a couple dead zealots. And look at the supply now. It's 20 army supply up for Harstem. This all-in that Nice has been looking for, he cut probes for. I don't know that there's any way he breaks in. He's down in tech, he's down in supply, he's down in pretty much everything.
And I just gotta say, Harstem is doing such an immaculate job at crossing his T's, dotting his I's. Look at this. He knows he's about to max out. He's gonna hit with a zealot counterattack, forces a recall, which is a lot of the army being sent back home. If Harstem recognizes this, he might be able to pounce on this army. The Stasis Wars again, catching more units. This is gonna be 6 zealots for free if Harstem wants to convert on them. Of course, there are some of his zealots here on the top side, but this is gonna lead to a potentially kind of messy engagement. Harstem, though, is significantly ahead in supply. Another Revelation tracks his opponent's army. He is gearing up to maybe get a huge trap, a huge surround on Nice's army. Nice has to get out of here right now. Ooh, Harstem got to be a little bit careful. The oracles are left hanging. But it's going to be fine. Disruptor's going to kind of zone this out. He's been dropping stasis wards constantly in this game.
And we got to point this out. There's like one observer in the game. Well, yeah, there's one observer in the game for Nice. I don't know that it's with the army even. There it is right in the front, kind of not where the stasis traps are. So Harstem's just getting everything he wants. Dogs blink forward, get damage on an Immortal. War Prism's not even close, so it is going to not go down. Good sentries there for Nice. But now that's another wounded Immortal. It's another thing going wrong for the Taiwanese Protoss. Harstem, he's on his 5th base. He's got the Dark Shrine on the way. He's advancing again, leapfrogging in the tech in ways that that Nice is just not ready for. And you talk about upgrade timings, Harstem's gonna have +3 in 10 seconds. Dogs blink forward though, they get one of the oracles, and those oracles have been such a thorn in the side of Nice, and that's gonna be pretty nice. But Stalkers, they blink forward, another Immortal goes down. But now at the very least here, Steadfast, Nice has those disruptors. He has the ability to at least zone his opponent out, but that disruptor's dead now. That's not all that useful, and here comes Harstem, but Nice trying to force a bit of a base right here, getting on top of the Robo. That disruptor does not look like it's gonna pop out, but here we go. Harstem gets on top of the disruptors of Nice here. They will not get their shots off, but it's only part of his army right now, and well, that does mean Harstem's gonna start to take some damage in the natural zealots getting on top. Disruptor balls there on the Archons, popping them down, and now Nice, he's gonna have to recall out of here, but how much damage can he get done before that happens? Well, defensive DTs, they say not a lot at all. Nice army supply is starting to fall into the gutter. He doesn't have upgrades, he doesn't have tech. Stalkers blink on the left side. They're going to try to make that happen, but everything is dead. There's no recall, and Nice now down right around 100 supply. That was the one move he could maybe have made, but even that was not enough.
No, it wasn't. It was absolutely the best move he could have made because Harstem was all over him, but Harstem just shuts it down. Even though it gets in there, like you said, the defensive DTs were great. The snipe on the Warp Prism forced those disruptors to fire their shots from a position where they were never going to connect. Great target fire from Harstem, and behind all this, he's solidifying this game. Oh, he's got to be a little careful with this army, but an easy blink back saves most of his units. The Fleet Beacon. The Fleet Beacon is going to be the final nail in the coffin in this game. We can see from the supply that Harstem has run away with this game pretty much. But against disruptors, you always want to play it safe. And Harstem, everything about this game has been immaculate from him. Everything, start to finish. Oh, and now he's going to find his opportunity, and this will close it out. He finds all the disruptors. Nice's army is pitifully small compared to that of the captain. And the captain says, you're not going anywhere. You're walking the plank.
Puts an anchor around his neck. And that means now that Harstem is up 1-0. And you know, Steadfast, as good as Sue looked in the first series we had, right? He looked dominant. Harstem looked better against Nice. That was... I've heard rumors that Harstem has been killing it in practice, specifically in like the non-mirrors. But no, he is looking damn good in this matchup, and that is pretty exciting. Are we gonna? Does that mean that Nice has to change something up though in the second game of this series? Because clearly this was not working.
I mean, what can you do? He played the way he plays, which is, he cut some corners. Got himself a nice early lead. It was a very small lead, but it evaporated as soon as those oracles came in. Harstem just played better, and he played fundamentally well. Everything was tracked. So the only thing I'll say for Nice, maybe be more aggressive about shutting down his opponent's vision, maybe go hunting for those oracles a little bit more if Harstem plays oracle again. But Harstem just looked like a player that was not one but 2 tiers ahead of Nice in that game. Now, the only thing I'll say about that is playing at that level, the way Harstem just did that, is mentally exhausting. It is so difficult to play so immaculately, to have everything tracked like that. But it's just a best of 3. To be honest, I look at that and I'm changing Harstem to one of my picks to make it out of the round of 12.
100%.
Or out of the round of 36. If he keeps this up, he will absolutely qualify into the group stage.
Especially considering, as we're going to get into game number 2 in just a second. We're almost there. Especially considering, Coffee and Xiao are 1-1. Xiao's not running away with that series as we expected. And Armani is up 1-0 on Cure. Armani lifetime is down like 46 maps. It's not close. So massive results there. If the lower bracket is looking as in play as it is, Harstem, well, he's got a good chance of it. But folks, we're going to get into that second game of this series. Harstem sitting up 1 on it, and we're just going to have to see if Nice has something in store for us as we get into game 2. And in the bottom right, folks, in the red, he's up a game, and as Steadfast says, he's been looking so freaking good. It's Harstem.
And his opponent, he says, you know what? I like this wall. I'm doing it again. Spawning up at the top left for Good Game Gaming. It is Nice.
Such an interesting idea, right? Like, it didn't work game 1, but I don't know. You were going to say something.
Well, it didn't work game 1, but it didn't cost him the game in game 1. He actually had the wall ready to go for the first set of adepts when they actually got in and discombobulated him. He even had the probe in the wall. He just didn't get the pylon up. And, you know, that subtle difference did cost him 8 probes because he lost a couple of probes to the adepts. And then, more importantly, the oracles then got free reign on the natural. That was what really, you know, swung the game into Harstem's favor from an early point. Now, we do have to mention that Nice's army maneuvering was quite good, and he gave himself some opportunities, even against a Harstem who was completely all over him. So, even though, you know, it didn't work out, he ended up losing the game. Nice is still a dangerous player. We cannot discount that. By the way, Harstem opening the exact same, actually both players opening the exact same way they did in game number 1. Double Adept delayed Warp Gate Stargate for Harstem, whereas Stalker Sentry with that in-base gateway setup here from Nice.
It's kind of funny. We were talking about it in that last game about how does Nice change something up? Harstem looks so good. He looks so dominant. Maybe you throw in, I don't know, some sort of proxy, something. But that's not going to happen. And the other thing we talked about, right, when you talk about this Nice opening, was it was on Ancient Cistern. It was a big map. It was a map where you could go and maybe be less afraid of aggression, takes longer for adepts to run across. Gravon is not quite to that level. It is a much shorter map, and that, well, does mean that these adepts from Harstem, they're going to show up a little bit sooner. So given that, let's see now whether the adepts actually get into the main base and start to find maybe damage a little bit earlier on, because again, there's no wall in the natural. Not really.
No, there certainly isn't. Now with, he is going to shade forward. Okay. How many probes can he get? He's going to be at least 2. Who can he get that third one? He misses the target fire a little bit. Oh, wow. Huh. The Stalker shot's just barely not coming through quick enough, and he does get that third probe. Now, this is going to mean that his Oracle Harass won't be able to find the explosive damage that it did in the previous game. But we also have to mention Harstem's Nexus is actually faster than Nice's this time, as opposed to in the previous game. So while Harstem, you know, won't be... Oh, actually, hang on. These units are a little bit... okay, no. They're not enough out of position to give Harstem the opening that he was looking for. And I think Harstem's looking for this double Oracle timing more than anything, so he probably doesn't want to lose the HP. So I think it's good to play a little bit conservatively there. Okay, ooh. This is bold. That's very bold.
Yeah, I guess Nice was trying to maybe find the oracles on the map, but it's just a little bit too late. And now with only 2 stalkers in the natural here, Steadfast, that's not going to be enough as the oracles they turn around. Huh.
This might be a kind of bluff call on Harstem playing a little bit conservatively with his units here. He needs these oracles at home now to defend, actually. And if he does, recall them, he might be able to just murder a bunch of his opponent's sentries. But it looks like we're not going to see that. We will see Harstem dive in. You can see he really wants to keep the HP maxed out. He could have gotten maybe 4, 5, 6 probes, but instead he only elects to take 1 and keep these oracles alive. So Nice is kind of playing to the fact that Harstem wants these oracles more than anything. Oh, as I say that, he finds an opening and gets 3 more probes.
I think it is key, though.
Well, that's well done.
No, it really is. I think it is key what you're talking about is that Oracle will go down. Last second shot. I think it's key what you're talking about. How important the... that's kind of funny. How important these Oracles have been to Harstem's PvP. Stasis traps all over the map. The amount of vision that Harstem had in that previous game that allowed him to move his army left and right and never really allow Nice to find his way onto the high ground. Well, losing one of those Oracles that cuts down your Stasis traps, cuts down your Revelations in half, really to the point where you can do one or the other. You can't really do both. So that unlocks a lot more happiness, I guess, a lot more of the map for Nice at this point. And everything we talked about that last game, right? How Nice is a faster forge, has, all that. None of that is true. Harstem has the faster forge here, is faster +1. His blink is faster as well. Despite not getting quite as much damage with the Adept Oracle play, he's still up 3 workers. And at the end of the day, it really did only cost him 1 Oracle, which you don't want to spend, but it found value, certainly.
Yeah, it found a little bit of value. Now, he could have kept it alive, but Nice was able to intercept. So that's something that Harstem, I'm sure, is not going to be happy about, especially with how clean his play looked in game number 1. But he's still in a great spot in this game. Now, the next big question is, what direction do these 2 players send their techs? They're both taking that 3rd base. They're both going up to a decent gateway count and blink stalkers. Now, will either of them try and hit like a charge lot timing, or are we just going to see them go into the later stages of the game? It's going to be disruptors. Disruptors not as good as they used to be with that nerf to the radius, but they are still very effective weapons in this matchup.
And really what they do, we talk about them being effective weapons in PvP, we can think about disruptors as 2 ways, right? They are killer units or they are zoning units. In something like TVP, PvT, they're zoning units. Something like ZVP, they're killer units. And I would argue in PvP, they're much more on the zoning side. They force engagements to be quicker. They don't allow the Protoss player to engage quite as much, which, from that perspective, dropping the radius a little bit doesn't really impact what they do, right? They force the zoning. You just don't want to take the shots, which it does still make them incredibly powerful. I wonder if that's why we saw a single Robo Disruptor, though, for Harstem, though, for a little while. Is they're just going to zone. We don't expect them to do much damage, so it's kind of fine. Maybe I'll spend my money elsewhere.
I think as much as anything, it was that he didn't want to overcommit and leave himself exposed. I think by that point, he'd already seen the Archon. By the way, nice little pick off on his opponent's frontline observer. We do see that Nice sees his opponent's army movement. Harstem's got to be a little bit careful. The army of Nice is better prepared to fight right now. And I don't think he realizes that Nice has the vision on him. Oh, great blink forward right there, punishing that Oracle. And now Harstem cannot get that free vision he got so effectively in game number 1. In game number 1. And what I was saying we needed to see out of Nice, that's exactly what we saw, which is the Oracles being hunted. So really great stuff out of Nice. Now Harstem has a big +2 timing. Oh, and he actually, well, never mind. Nice is able to respond in time. I was going to say he finds a bit of an opening on this 3rd base, but Nice is there. Meanwhile, will be that double Robo Disruptor out of Nice, and like you said, single Robo Disruptor out of Harstem. Oh, nice job from Harstem, though. Snipes down a stalker.
Now, last game you talked about how good Harstem's vision was on the map. He knew everything that was happening, and on his side of the map, to be fair, he still is. But the thing that allowed him to kill the Oracle, the thing that has really dissuaded a lot of run-by potentials has been some excellent observer placement here on the map from Nice. All that pressure on the left side that Harstem was going for and try to, yank Nice around a little bit, there was one observer on the bottom left side of the map, even in observer mode. So, it's just going to get that little bit more. That meant that, well, Harstem could never be around there. Nice, and then Nice knew if the army wasn't there, by process of elimination, there's really only one place it could be. But as you point out, Steadfast, this is a scary upgrade time here, but it seems like for now, Harstem isn't going to be capitalizing on it, instead taking that opportunity to get his disruptors, get that fourth base up. But as they say that, though, his army's moving out on the map.
And that it is. He is gearing up here. Now, we are going to see Nice start to transition into Sky Toss, it looks like. He gets the +1 air weapons. He actually got Observer Speed here, which is very fast. I think he cut a bit of Disruptor production even to prioritize that upgrade. So that's very, very telling in that the Vision game is going to be a huge deal. And the Vision game is always one of the most important things in these Disruptor wars. Speaking of which, Harstem's got a lot of spotter pylons, even a spotter zealot here. For now, like you said, zoning tools, they're playing so conservatively with these Novas. They're throwing them out from miles away from one another. But we could see an engagement here in earnest. Nope, Harstem's just gonna poke forward, says, don't want to get in there, and just gets on out. This is the most conservative I think I've seen two players play a PvP in a long time, in terms of just how they're positioning their armies.
At least like in the mid to late game. Yeah, okay, so there's like the first 7 minutes in a lot of games until you get +2 in your third or your fourth, where everyone just kind of sits at home. But yeah, certainly once we get past the 10-minute mark. But one thing I want to point out here, you're talking about that Stargate transition. This looks like, we'll hold that for a second, because here comes Harstem. Oh, he's going to get a Disruptor here. He's going to get a second one as well before the Zealots move in. And yes, Nice does have 3 behind that, but 5, 6, 7 Disruptor count is where things start to get really scary, because the balls, they go out continuously. So Harstem opens up a little bit more time. He's just getting ready for a run by on the north side. But what I wanted to point out here is Nice is almost taking a page out of the TVT book of not getting your 3-3 on your bio, because you're moving into Sky Terran, and really that's all that matters at the end of the day. Nice does not have his 3-3 on the way. He's taking that gas, turning it into carriers, turning it into +1 air, which does mean that now, maybe not for the rest of the game, I might go back for it, but at least for quite a while here, Harstem's ground-on-ground army is just not going to be something that Nice is going to be able to fight. And given Harstem's proclivities for Blink Stalkers and Charge Lots and Blink DTs, now we're going to start to see if he can start to rip Nice apart on this map. And Gravon, that's a map that's actually fairly good to turtle on. So who wins now? Turtle or, I don't know, the hare, I guess.
Harstem is going to be looking to hit hard and fast, and he will blink to the left side with his main army. Nice is kind of waffling. Harstem sees it all with an Observer, which is so handy for him. Just the battery overcharge is going to get its full duration, almost no effectiveness. Meanwhile, Harstem is actually breaking through on this top side. He's going to be able to take down the cannon. Actually, this Nexus is just dead. Yeah, it's just going to straight up go down. Very nice move for Harstem. He's got his own 5th base behind this. He doesn't know about the carrier transition yet. I think he just now sees it. Ooh, a couple of Stalkers actually going down. And a big misblink right there from Nice. But if Nice still gets up to a big number of carriers, sniping the 5th base almost won't matter. Harstem, there we go. He starts up his own +1 air weapons. 3 more Stargates in the kind of wireframe right here. He says, I know what can win you this game, and I know what I need to do to make sure you don't win this game. Ooh, Observer.
There you go.
Oh, nice snipe from Harstem there, just in time.
Now, the interesting thing as well, and seeing shields on the way, it's, again, most likely going to be carriers, but it's always fun if the second player in a PvP to go that mass Stargate style, if they just decide, okay, well, carriers don't matter, I'm too late to it, I'm going to get like 5 to 7 Tempests. And I'm going to have more ground control, and then I'm just going to start to bop your carriers down one by one. That can be fun, but look at this. Harstem finds his way into the 3rd base, but, well, Disruptors are a little bit far behind. You got to be worried about the flank here, but no, Harstem's aware of it, so the Stalkers, they have to blink back, and now Harstem, he gets 6 workers. The Zealots warp in, but they're not going to be the most effective here as Harstem runs away in again. Massive shot on the right side, and on the left side, though, here come the Disruptors of Nice, but they're not shooting their shots. Not just yet. 7 workers again. They've gone down. Big run by on the 3rd base, but there are cannons here, so Harstem's going to have to get back up. Meanwhile, fight on the right side. Get started a little bit more, but it's only a couple Zealots. Harstem seems like for the moment he's going to be able to disengage, and at the end of the day, did he kill a base? No. But he got some economic damage done, and he's forcing Nice to react to him. And despite the shields on the way, this will be Tempest coming out of Harstem.
Yeah, and you know, it can work very, very well. And when you are late to the transition, it does make sense. We'll see if it does work out for him here. It certainly can. It's going to be up to, you know, Oracle Revelations, things like that. For now, though, he is kind of all over Nice. Nice, though, is maxing out, and he's looking to go for this big push. Now, Harstem, he's going to force a base trade. Recall was already used. This could get very messy here. Ooh, I love the static defense, but it's not going to be done in time.
No, it isn't. But remember, with the Tempest on the map, it's only 3 of them at the moment. But remember, they can sit behind things. So Harstem, he's got first mover's advantage. He's already into the main base, the natural, well, already into the natural in the third. He denied the 5th base from Nice early on, and he has these Tempests. He's making them 4 at a time. And they can sit in the main base. They can start to knock away at a lot of Nice's army when Nice is still trying to find his way up at that high ground. But Harstem, he's not even doing that. He's running away with this army, just doing the delta split, making sure he can get enough of these out as possible as he is setting up what is going to be a tremendous flank. Notice, army on the 3rd base. Tempest on the bottom, on the right, on the left. And when he decides to return home with this army after annihilating every little bit of something, every little bit of tech that Nice has, well, Nice is going to have to win the game with this army, which, while technically, well, a little bit more expensive, but not to the point where I think Nice needs to be to make sure this happens, because Harstem, he's already starting, well, he already has all these other bases. And, well, the probes there, at least the probes get out steadfast. At least Nice can maybe rebuild if he wins the fight.
Yeah, getting all those probes out and having as much money as Nice does is actually a really big deal for him. He has taken this base. Harstem does have this one on the bottom side, but there's no static defense there. And the static defense are actually on the wrong side. Ooh, big leap forward. We'll find one of the disruptors here. These disruptors are important units in this base trade. Now, Harstem has supply blocked his opponent. He's fully reset the tech, but Nice has done the same thing. Nice has not yet killed the Dark Shrine. Where is Harstem's army? Okay, it has come home, and the Tempests are going to start to shell away at this army. He really could use an Oracle. Battery overcharge. Oh, going to get killed, actually. I actually think I might like this better for Nice right here. The army supply does favor Harstem. We're going to see the cannons could add on a lot of value. The carriers, though, they're so much better in a stand-up fight. Nice disruptor shot for Harstem there. Gets a couple of his opponent's stalkers, but he needs to kite. And he really needs an Oracle, and he just doesn't have it.
Steadfast, he's fine. Look at the observer count right now. Harstem has 3. There's not a single one for Nice. Oh. And Harstem killed them all right as they ran over. So now, technically, if Harstem does this right, he can, well, A, DTs, B, he can have vision on the carriers. This is such a dominant army position for Harstem if he can figure it out. But he's not even going to go for that. Yeah, he's got DTs on the other side. What structures do we have for Nice right now? 5 pylons, a bunch of stuff on the right side here, and it's going to be forced to full recall, but they can't deal with it. Again, there is no observer on the map. There's no robo on the map. It's going to have to be disruptors here. The DT is doing delta splits. They get out from all of that, and remember, there's still a Dark Shrine on the map, Steadfast. Harstem can build more, and the DTs at the end of the day, they're going to do it here. Harstem, he moves on 2-0 overnight.